broke off a couple. He's still going. Butler over in the corner. That's the line, over the line he rolls. Backside, right side. Okalita to turn it over. Oh, he's got it again. He's got to go. Spry will do very well. Spry will go in, but Adelaide will push out, and they will push on there. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Dry Creek, where North Torrens are hosting the elimination finals. This is it. This is win or go home rugby for all four teams that we're about to see today. The first one we will see is Adelaide Uni taking on Woodville, which is a repeat. Well, both of these finals are a repeat of the first round of finals. I'm joined today in commentary by Pete Cross. Hello, Pete.
G'day, Dave.
And Tom Hankey. Hello, Tom.
Good afternoon, Dave.
It should be an absolutely wonderful afternoon of rugby to just top off a wonderful weekend of rugby. All the junior finals yesterday were at South down at Clarence Gardens, so all of those results are on Facebook. Go and have a look at that. And then, of course, the NRC Roadshow came into town yesterday. Melbourne Rising not doing quite enough to get up and losing by 10 points. But good afternoon of rugby. Today we are getting ready to go, and Woodville will start us off. They will be attacking the left of the screen in their usual green and gold jerseys. Ball allowed to bounce. Michael Augustus has a couple of goes at it, but will knock it into touch, and Woodville will have an early lineup. Just if I can get your thoughts, Tom. We saw this round one, and you were sat there with us, round one of the finals, in there. Uni taking the biscuits in that one. Do you think we'll just see rinse and repeat today?
No, I think we might have a bit of a different contest on our hands today. We saw last week a very rampant Woodville against Elizabeth, and by all accounts, having spoken to, I say this most weeks, I was speaking to Tommy Price before the game, and the reason being is because me and him both spend our time mostly around the pie shop, so he was obviously there, but he was saying again, same situation last week. They've got as strong as a squad as they have done, minus a couple of the injuries that we saw last week. So I think it'll be a bit of a different game, and it was very close the other week. So we're going to be. It's going to be quite an interesting one to see how this one pans out.
So Woodville are away again. They'll look into midfield. Adcock just trying to work around. A little knock on, and Adelaide University do pride themselves on their defence. They're a very structured team, Crosser. We've seen them a couple of times now, and they generally try and go a couple of hit-ups, and then we'll look at the backs.
Yeah, they have a very clear-cut game plan. Always have work on it technically, making sure, and they'll know when they execute well. You'll see them all get around each other, but a big in for Uni is in the backs in that 12 position. Is Jenkins is back for them, a real game changer for Uni.
That is, and good eyes, well spotted. He is big defensively and going forward. Of course, the winner of the meme competition is out there as well, Michael Augustus. Well, I don't know whether he became the winner, but in all our hearts he is. So here go Uni, first time with hands on ball, and they are out and they're away. Over halfway, Woodville scrambling, managing to bring him down eventually. Sonnenberg working hard. And then we get to see this very familiar, and two in a row there from Woodville. And it's something we've talked about all year, just those high tackles. Just, I don't know whether it's technique or what, but it's been a big thing all year.
Well, what it often comes down to now is almost that lazy technique being punished. So a ball and all tackle, the bit of the old-fashioned bear hug, 80% of the time now you'll get penalised for that. If it's above they call it the nipple line, above that, most likely you're going to be called for a high tackle. It won't result in a yellow card, none of that, but it'll result in a penalty. And
I've been checking the weather all morning just to see what was going to happen. It is a blustery day, but 80% chance of showers, and I think we're getting one as we come now. Big contact in midfield. There's the first pick and drive from Uni. If they keep going the same way, we'll have another one, and then they'll look to the backs. There's the second one.
Extra third one.
Yeah. Sorry, they have gone to a third one. Jenkins on this near side, short ball. Again, Adcock having to do the hard yards, make the stop. And again, another pick and drive. Out to Mooney, flat ball into midfield, and again they're just trying to stretch it. Ralph will step inside a couple and then is met hard by Starchenko. And the counter ruck just to disrupt from Woodville. We've seen that time and time again as well. Mooney again. Short ball to Redfern. Lion's share of possession so far for Adelaide University. And again they go, another one-on-one challenge in midfield. This time they do manage to bring them down again. Now they've got a little bit of space. Now they've got some numbers. Now he will straighten. Tries to go outside. It's been knocked backwards. Ball is over the line. Work hard to get back out again. Shorting goals here at Dry Creek as well, so they are going to have to just put their head down, give themselves a little bit of extra room. Out to Adcock, left-footed away. They had the penalty advantage anyway. And Tom, injury has sort of pushed you into a coaching role rather earlier than you would have liked. Is just the pros and cons from the predictability of Adelaide University?
Well, actually quite interestingly there, they kind of come out of the blocks a little bit in this game by the looks of things. So we've seen there a couple of picks and drives. There was a good start of around about 4 of them. They didn't make many yards around that Woodville area, and they're actually not going to get too much success around the breakdown because that's Woodville's prime point. That's where they're defensively very strong. But they've put together about 14 phases there.
Missed touch, and Adelaide University will come back. So no real reprieve for Woodville. They're going to have to get on that defensive back foot again. Another one, side entry, and they're away again. Bronlett looking to carry Adelaide University into the red zone.
I dropped out of the call as well.
Good jackal from Woodville. Hands on and slowed it right down. Away they go again. Mooney misses everybody, bounces its way to Ralph, who again is hit. Again a suggestion of high. And turned over. Now they're away. First time we've seen Woodville with ball in hand. Now they've got some space over on that far side. Kick ahead. How's the bounce? Bounce will find its way towards the Adelaide University try line. Hunt stands up well. Now Augustus can get going. See what he wants. He puts the ball to boot. Will it land in field? It does. It sits up. Takes a Woodville bounce. Young Thomas gets to put it back. And that's a good kick from young Thomas. But a bit breathless and a bit of back and forward, Crossy.
It has been, but really very good defence from Woodville. They've been able to sustain a long attacking passage from Uni, and now they're in a good position here. If they can get a turnover, I'm looking forward to seeing them with ball in hand.
Haven't really seen much of Woodville with ball in hand just yet. Normally you would coach against kicking it away, but it's worked okay for Woodville. Uni will win the line out and again just try and batter down that midfield with Odendahl. Out to Mooney again, not really anybody over that side. Got far too much of it out on the full. So it'll be another line up. Back towards the 22. Questions being asked whether it was carried back in. Our official today, the man in the middle, is Phil Jones. So Woodville will have a line-up slightly further out than they would have wanted.
It is, but have a look at here. They're really loading up this back line full of their back row players. So expect a big hit up in the midfield and then working from that.
Heppard at the back, had to go with the outside arm. And then knocked on in midfield. Jet Connor. Jet and Matt, father and son combination in midfield today. And as we go through this one, who's the pack that's dominating so far in your mind?
Not really any one of them. I think you'll probably see in this scrum coming up again today, and we saw this the other week when we watched the two teams play. There's actually quite an even amount of parity between the two, and we saw Woodville last week. They just completely ran Elizabeth off the park when it came to scrum time. I don't think they're going to really have that same level of success today.
Ball goes in. Uni are nice and controlled. Decide to go the blind side, but run into the halfback. That's why you don't run the blind side play that way. But it will come back. Woodville allowing them to take their time, but Starchenko and Tom Price will only let you get away with that for so long. Mooney looks inside to find Jones. Mooney again. Short ball to Jenkins. Jenkins managed to get rid of Adcock, but not the covering defender, which I think was his brother. Again, just happy to take it off in chunks. Bronlett will pick and go. Penalty. And that's the problem. If you're going to go slow ball, Crossy, you've then got to turn it into quick ball, and I think that's where Uni have struggled in most of the games we've watched them.
Has been indeed. I felt at the very start of this game they'd picked up that pick and go game, but now they're falling back into that slow, very calculated pick and go, and it's allowing the Woodville defenders to get back on their feet and line up, and then once a tackle's made, the jackal straight in there over the top, and that's what we've happened. And with a shot for goal coming up, they're getting punished for that slow ball.
And it is interesting that, you know, the final series has been the most amount of rugby that has been broadcast. There's plenty. These teams will have seen each other, and there's plenty of stuff now on tape for teams to look at. And we go back to that predictable question as to whether that's something you want to get out of. But certainly, the amount of slow ball they're going, you've got to then turn that into quick ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from Uni's perspective, where they're going to get a lot of success today would be out in the wider channels. That's when things get a little bit broken and just break down a little bit for Woodville. So I think you saw when they were stringing across the 14 odd phases that they had, they looked quite dangerous out wide. The moment that they then, as Crossy said, the moment that they then start to slow that ball down and around the base areas, Woodville are just going to eat them for breakfast.
So the penalty just pulled. So we go to a 22-metre dropout, and that one will bobble its way over halfway to Yestin Young-Roberts. He's going to try and find a little bit of space over the back. Where's the bounce take it? Gets it in goal. Tom Ralph wants to play on. Carries it out. Beats a couple and then finds some space. Ralph will step another. Adcock with a fantastic covering tackle. But we're going back, and again, I think that's another high shot, which is too many. I mean, and they've all seemed to be against Woodville so far.
They have, and those ones are those coach killers. Great kick through, had an opportunity to trap Ralph the fullback there back in his 22, and then have given them an easy penalty out. And you know, just by good clean tackling, it's laziness that has caused now to clean break. They'll have a chance. I imagine Mooney will be looking to kick again off this and moving his team down to their opposition 22.
Slightly different to what we're used to. Generally, when we talk to you, the wind is blowing away from the camera. Today, it's blowing right in the face of the camera. But here's what we would expect so far. It's a very, very cagey one. No one's really tried to swing a haymaker just yet. Just bits of broken play have opened them up, but scrambling defences have managed to sort it out. I mean, today is going to be, it's all about, you will give that extra bit of effort to prevent a breakaway try, because it's win or go home again. Mooney sends it back inside to Jenkins, who finds a little bit of a gap and will get rid of one. Has a support runner on the outside. Heard a noise and Young-Roberts will go down. Ralph is now going to try and run around the outside, decides to come back in. Adcock will get him, just throws it backwards, will find Mooney. Mooney will just have to reset. Redfern. They have an extra player because young Roberts is still down. Jenkins again will try and wriggle his way through. Beats a couple. Hands are on. Not sure what's happening. I heard something with young Roberts, and I'm not sure whether it was him or it sounded like a slap. But
from my own experience, I've heard that sound before. It's often the sound of the ACL going. The internal ligament makes quite a lightning crack when it goes, audible around the ground. So he's got, if the adrenaline's flowing, he might think he's feeling okay, but if that's what I think it is, he's not going to be out for much longer.
I've seen it before. You can do your ACL and you can walk off and you think you're okay, and then the next time you try and do anything, it's all she wrote.
I mean, if that was an ACL snap, that sounded pretty horrific, I won't lie.
I'm not sure, and he's moving really quite freely, so I don't think so. I wondered whether it was a hand slap on a thigh initially. But Adelaide University are going to take the shot at goal. Tom Ralph has been really, really good in the finals that we've seen with kicks at goal. He's not missed much. Oh, and it's Tom Ralph's birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tommy. No messing around, but we'll have seen that he almost directed that at that left-hand upright, and the wind did everything.
Well, he used it well. It's another, we see a lot of different kicking styles here, and that's another one where he sort of swings around the corner, but gave himself an early birthday present. But straight away, we saw Jenkins, the powerhouse. Great, clean line break, beat about 3-4 tackles on the way through, and then soldiered up close to the 22 for another break. He is a danger man.
He is, on the restart, high, hanging this time. No contest from Adcock. Good from Jet Connor. Got hands on. Jeez, he was given a lot of time, and good from Jet Connor. So they have a chance to bite back, but people watching at home, that is how you jackal.
Yeah, that's Jackal 101. He's made the tackle, got up, clear release. He's gone for the ball, and he doesn't necessarily have to go for the ball. What he's looking to do, I think, by the looks of things there, is even if he's slowing it down, he's asking the referee the question, and at least putting the seed of doubt in his mind. And if he's just holding that ball in tight to the player, he's either going to turn it over, or the referee's going to blow up for a penalty, and that's what happened this time.
Well, Woodville looking for the jugular. They've kicked into the corner. Line out, not far out. So Crossy acting as ball kid today. You don't get paid twice, you know.
The full fun of community local rugby, hey?
So they've decided against the driving maul. They'll go out to Adcock. Adcock tried to run around the outside and loses it. Now they're away. They have numbers. Just decided to come back in. Every single back on the planet wanted it to go out and wide left. Hands in the ruck, come penalty.
Yeah, good break there from Uni, just trying to turn the turnover straight into attack there as well. And I think again that broken play area for Uni is going to bring them is going to bring them some good results if they can look to utilise that today.
So we're talking about that weather. Mooney deciding to go for the fat side. Not a huge amount of yardage, but just see how far that wind will carry it. So it'll be a Uni line out inside their own half. There'll be a number of wingers who watch that, and you've got a two-man overlap outside. You decide to come back and die with the ball.
Yeah, I really felt watching that. They butchered a great opportunity to make a great line break. There was definitely 3-on-1 possibly.
2, 7, 6. Hop.
Lots of movement around for Uni. Redfern just wanted too long and turned over by Starchenko. Woodville again with ball in hand, flat ball into the centres. Battle of the two number 12s at the moment, both big strong runners. Woodville loaded on this near side. Adcock loses it. Again, suggestion of high, and there it is again. Peters in the number 12 jersey for Woodville, and that's It's two big, strong runners who are going to run straight lines for you and hopefully get you beyond the gain line. Adcock again will kick them down into the corner. So again, shortened line-up, and they're putting the Connor clan in that 12-13 channel. Trying to run the driving maul with a 5-man lineup. Parry's got hands on at the back and they've decided to go. The forwards are staying out there. And they've got away. Start to roll towards the line. Can they get it down? No, they can't. They'll come back out for another penalty for offside. Options to go quick. They'll have an option to go for the line out again. Well, they've got the whole lot here at the moment. All your set plays, Tom.
Yeah, I think, as I say, yeah, scrum is the call here, which is quite an interesting one. It's not been all their own way, but again, I don't think they've lost one so far. But it's not something that they're guaranteed as much out of as they were against Elizabeth last week. It's as we've said earlier on, it's a little bit more in line. It's quite interesting to see what they were going to do off of that line out there, because it looked as though they had stacked out a fair few boys out in the wider channels, and as it was, forwards just went for the pick and drive themselves. But they've won a penalty, so you'd count that as a minor win.
So it will be a Woodville scrum. I might come back to that. So Woodville will have a scrum. Really good position for them. Wide left scrum. Do your best starter move and see how you go. Best starter move is Matt Connor to pick and drive, and Matt Connor will go over.
Great powerhouse try. Well done. There was no way he was being stopped from that range. And then the big slam dunk finish to go, guys, follow me. And that was impressive, very impressive to watch.
Absolute stalwart of Woodville Rugby Club, Matt Connor. It's South Australian rugby as a whole. But while we get ready for this kick, just back on that shortened lineup. A 5-man driving maul, even against 8-9 in a maul, if you get it right and you're right and your body positions are right and you're quick enough and you hit it hard enough, 5-man's enough.
Yeah, once you've got momentum, it's really hard to then stop. And what they've also got then is the opportunity that if it does break down and if they're not moving or making yards anymore, then they've got those players that they've set aside out on the wider channels there as a secondary option. Alternatively, if they are getting momentum and it's good enough, but it's just on the cusp, nothing wrong or no harm with those guys that are out in that channel to come in and start restarting that shove again.
Adcock drives it through to the old ball holder. That's when you know it's windy, when you get someone looking after the ball.
Yeah, that is the indication of the wind, and always the worry that you don't kick your teammate's hand off. So very good start from Woodville. They came down a good attacking drive and got points. So that'll be a real confidence booster for them.
So 11 points to 13. 11 points to 3 on the Wojtek scoreboard. Adelaide University will want to try and just keep their heads up. It's a big, big battle in days like that. Just that thought of we can't lose coming into your head, and hopefully that won't affect your play.
No, it was, but we saw it 2 weeks ago. Woodville, rushed into a 10-0 lead, and Adelaide Uni came back to win that one. So it's unpredictable game sometimes, rugby, but there's definitely a lot more pressure and a lot more riding on this game than there was 2 weeks ago.
Hebhart carries it up. Young Roberts. Knee seems to be okay. Where's the bounce for Young Roberts? Nice little foot race. Won by Uni. He wants to talk to him. It's Young Roberts. Entirely what that was for. Yellow card for falling on it. It's not really cynical because there was a...
Yeah, I think he's done a bit of the, judo tackle, and it's looked like the university players landed on his head in that throwing motion, but I didn't see too much in it. So, but that's the agenda in rugby across the board now, stamping out a player lands on their head or neck, and if it looks like there was some force involved, then a card is the likely outcome.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many people who complain too much. Off the top, Starchenko gets going early. Mooney heard the footsteps. Flat ball again into midfield. Managed to get some yards after the tackle. Out to Mooney again. Inside ball, and the inside ball works. Ranging forward they go again. Woodville again with backs to the wall. Now Uni can go. Out to Redfern. Redfern wraps around the outside, and away they will go. And Jones will go over. Adelaide University making the odd man count already. Just Woodville ran out of numbers, and that's what we talked about, Tom. That quick recycle, the quick redistribution, that worked for them.
Yeah, it's just come from a very intelligent five-man line-out from Uni as well, who they've just pinpointed that there was a pod set up at the front for Woodville. They've gone right into the middle. It's almost kind of gone side to side. They look like they had just set up a load of runners all in quite a close area, and then as they've gone with the hands to go on the right-hand side, people just wrapping around the corner, and then eventually gone in to score the try. But a very, very well-worked try from Uni, and like you said, trying to keep that fluidity, trying to keep that range of movement all the time against Woodville, not giving them time to set. That's where that's where they have to be clinical today.
Interesting as well. I spoke to Simon Redfern after his two-faced beard, and he said to me, he said, "Well, I've got to get on the stream somehow. I've got to get mentioned somehow." Well, Mr. Redfern, that's how you do it. Held up the play, lovely little pop on the wraparound.
It's that wisdom play, isn't it? Just hold and wait. There's support coming around the corner, and as we watch a bit of an attempt at a sidewinder kick, but just pass. If I can pass back to Tom, I think you must be impressed watching the big man Bron in open space. There's about 2 or 3 times now so far he's been let loose.
Yeah, he's a good player, and again, as it's been a theme for this finals period, and I think all started off with that old Collegians and Souths game where we're seeing a lot more of the chunky monkeys out in the out in the wider channels. But it's lovely to see, and look, it's endemic of the modern day prop now. It's not just a case of just scrummaging for 80 minutes. It's now, you've got to put a shift in around the park as well. Carries, tackle count are expected to be quite high.
Yeah, offside, a little knock on into Redfern. So it gives Woodville the chance to bite back almost straight away. The scoreboard lied to me, so it's 8 points to 7. And Uni will hit the front just by the 1 point. Converted try to Woodville, unconverted try and a penalty to Adelaide University.
Those are those ones that really hurt. Straight after a score, you have a bit of a relax and you switch off. And poor, they should be practicing. Most parts of Uni's game is so clinical. A poor kick-off reception, it just hurts you every time.
I think part of that, you can look at the chase of Adcock, and he puts receivers under pressure massively. And they've got it back. Adcock will go flat. Nice little offload. Close. Jet Connor shows and then decides to just put his head down and go. The shadows on the post. Lots of numbers out to the right. Held up. Again, the wingers will just be sending the question in. We're ready to go. But the newly christened Chunky Monkeys wanting all the plaudits.
Yeah, a little bit greedy there maybe, because looking out wide, I'm not too sure if you're able to see that in the picture, but looking out wide on the right hand side, there was a lot of players and a lot of space and not a lot of defenders up against them, so that's possibly a chance spurned there for Woodville at this time of the game.
But they will have a scrum. They've split. They've got Mellis to the right, Peters to the left. 2 big strong runners. Peters is having a wander over to that right hand side. Connor will try again. This time he was half held. Still fighting towards the line. Gets his way to ground. Hebhart will rip it out. Hunt tries to get there, just couldn't stretch out. And again, they just keep trying to batter down the door. Parry has to pick it up off the bootlaces. Big wide one. Winger versus winger. Try given. That's a try for Woodville.
Excellent work from Woodville. Yeah, there's a man down, and they've in the backs, and they've scored out wide in the backs. That mismatch shouldn't really be occurring, but great power to get over in the corner. But you could see the speed, the increased speed of the rucks play from Woodville, just stepping it up, trying to dial it up quicker and quicker as those phases build, and that gave a chance, regardless of even having a player in the bin. Very good from Woodville.
Well, Fitzgerald from that far out is going to be tough to stop by anybody, and it's good that they actually spread it, because I did worry that they were getting a little bit of white line fever in the forward pack, and it's always hard. The halfback would be desperate to get it out. Wind is going to hold it up, and nearly absolutely perfect from Adcock. Wind didn't do enough, and it's gusty as well, Pete, so it's a tough one to judge.
I thought, that was a very good strike. He almost had it perfectly swinging back for the wind, and it really stops and starts this wind. It'll hammer in and then fire off almost to nothing. So right now it's picking up. So this kickoff here, we'll have to just put a little less on it to stop it from going out, and that's going to hold up.
Augustus is after it. Adcock will rise. 12 points to 8. Woodville in the ascendancy. Hebhart. And then we'll come to Adcock. Adcock just... I tell you what, that's a really, really nice kick from Adcock. Just didn't bounce the way he wants to, and Ralph can pick it up. Ralph will try and step around outside Adcock. Adcock does well. Offload to Augustus. Just lost his footing. Redfern again, just happy to pick and drive and try and reset, but met very, very strong on the outside. Mooney pulls it out the back, good hands, gives it to Jenkins. Jenkins couldn't get away from Mellis. Out to Mooney. Mooney will send it out. Didn't quite go to hand. Good pressure, but he beats the first one. He is all on his lonesome. Support will get there eventually. Everything slows down a bit. Another little pick and drive from Adelaide University. Mooney again goes short.
Oh, you got a wedge.
Again, happy to just take it off bit by bit. Mooney, like the matchup he had, managed to get around the outside, couldn't beat the second player. Redfern again will pick and go. Spins inside, got himself isolated.
That's amazing defence from Woodville, so high up the pitch as well. And normally when you're that high up the pitch and you're defending, there might be a tendency to sort of switch off a little bit, and just because you take advantage of the fact or you don't respect the fact that you've got so much space behind you. And what they've done is they've kept a very high, hard press, that high up in the field as well. Good tackles, and you're looking at guys that are tackling but also coming over to put a bit of pressure on the ball when it's down on the floor as well. And then they've won a penalty right in front of post, and it's really, really good. You've got to take your hat off to Woodville for the defence that they've put up there in their own, well, in Adelaide Uni's own 22.
I think as well, looking at it, is Matt Mooney is a fly half who likes to have time and space. And again, there's that one will get knocked through and just add another 3 points to the tally. Matt Mooney is somebody who wants time and space, and Woodville are not allowing him. They're almost taking turns in finding themselves in that 10 channel and really putting him under pressure.
He doesn't, he wants space, he wants his forwards. That's why I think the big part of his game is those pick and goes that build a platform for him. But I felt it was very unconventional of Uni to try and run it out of their 22. It's brave rugby, and I do applaud myself brave rugby like that, but I think it's cost them 3 points.
So we're back to parity. It looks like Lewis Adcock has just had some running repairs. He was asking for it to be held. And Matt Connor, take a bow, young man. Receives the kickoff, right foot taut, out to halfway. Ageless.
That was beautiful. Just a lovely spiral, and you just don't see enough torpies. these days, and that just calm as you like.
It is a dying art, the old talk. Line out, bang on halfway. Redfern will put it in. 5 mile line for Adelaide University as well. Just want to have a look at the gap. We were back in the 1970s with that line out gap at that point.
Rorschach. 3, 7, 6. Come back. Set.
Happy to go with the 2 ball and the banker. Now Mooney has a little bit of time to just survey what's in front of him. Again, Woodville really good with the line speed, and they've chewed off 10 metres already. First pick and drive. Bronlet will have a look at it. This is the one that's got to go quick. Woodville again doing enough to slow it down. Ralph steps back inside, looks for the numbers. Just lost his footing again. Penalty. It's too many of them now, Tom.
Yeah, quite a fair few, and again, that's a nice little bit of pressure coming out wide from Woodville's defence to send Ralph back inside. And out of those 3 or 4 phases that Uni have had, total yards made, 0.
Well, yeah, they're right back on halfway and just struggling to find a way through. That's a really, really good kick from Lindsay Adcock.
The wind is in the sails for Woodies at the moment. You can just feel it. They're marching up the field. They're getting the wins. They're stealing ball. Confidence is growing, and we might see, I'm hoping, the first time getting out to this midfield for the father-son combo to crash it up. And I think if they can get a quick phase off that and then spun wide, this could be a beautiful set play.
What do you think pulls rank in that one between Matt and Jet Connor? Well, Lindsay Adcock decides he wants to have a go. Tries to run around. There's numbers on the left, numbers on the right. And again, that pick and drive. If there's one criticism of a Woodville side that's really started well, it is the little bit they're trying the same thing. Woodville will go again. Short ball parry. Uni have done well again. Held up and 5 metre scrum.
It's almost a carbon copy of the last time they were down in this area of the field as well. Looking out wide, they've got options all the way across the pitch. They've gone for the pick and goes, just held up, and here they are again for a scrum. Now, the last time that this happened, we did see a try out the result of that, so interesting to see what goes on this time round.
And the dangerous Matt Connor is wearing his work boots today. He's decided he wants to come and play today. He scored the first one and the only try of Woodville's game so far.
From this position, pretty much as well. Will it be a carbon copy, pick and go? Right. Will he let the backs have it?
He will go. Beats the first one, works around. Good from Uni again. They've managed to hold him up. Penalty. Starchenko wanted to go, not rolling away. A little bit of a conversation between Matt Connor and one of the Uni boys. Not entirely sure what anyone is doing. Jet Connor telling people to let go of his dad.
Maybe a little bit more than a polite conversation going on there. I think just a little bit of handbags. But Uni are under immense pressure at the moment, and it's another penalty. I think the referee's going to have a word with the touchy on the sideline just to figure out what exactly went down there.
I didn't see any punches thrown or anything like that. Just a lot of trying to exchange jerseys before the appropriate moment. Just a little bit of a storm in a teacup, really. Set the scrum and go again. It's been a relatively clean game, and these games, we keep talking about the pressure. This is the end of the season for one of these teams, so there's a huge amount of pressure on this one. So generally, I hate to say the words boys will be boys, but the testosterone gets going, and you do have moments like this.
The intensity of these games, these last chance to make the grand final. The intensity is right up there with a grand final match. You have to play it like a grand final, and that's what we're seeing. So certainly, any little niggle, any little bit, you can try and get that psychological advantage over your opposite number. We're going to get that in any of these highly contested rucks.
So Tom Price with his best Jason Hyam facial impression has to go and leave us for a little bit. So I don't know whether we'll see a change in that. That's a really massive penalty for Adelaide University to relieve the pressure they were under. Talk about wins, that is a big win for Adelaide University. Just having a look around, I don't know whether they're going to have to make a change losing Tom Price. I think they've probably got enough versatile players in that prop that they don't need to make a change with him sitting down in the naughty chair for 10 minutes. So it's a big line out for Adelaide University outside, so the exit play isn't that big an option, and Adcock will steal it. Hebhart tries to reel it in, couldn't quite. A double turnover. Mooney gives it to Jenkins. Jenkins will beat two and then step again. Even managed to get away from Matt Connor, and that is no mean feat. Good yardage from Jenkins. Counter ruck comes through from Adcock. Bronlett tries to find a little bit of room. Slow ball again for Uni. And again, body height wasn't brilliant. Get the penalty though. Not releasing. It's an interesting one as well, and I know I'm sat between two. Do you have a captain aside, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sat between two captains, and as Mooney will just send that one down, it's reaching that really interesting point where you start to feel that things are going against you with the referee, and as a captain, trying to maintain that relationship with the man in the middle.
It comes in two parts. One, maintaining certainly the relationship with you and the referee, and as well your players. Your players are starting to get frustrated by it, and it's trying to bottle that up and get them to focus and not start talking to the referee, because you cannot change the referee's decision on the spot, and you really need to concentrate and just play to the whistle, and just accept what is called and play with it, because once you start getting negative that you're getting the raw prawn, your whole game sort of turns upside down on you.
That's why I don't eat seafood. Stay away from the raw prawn. Turned over again by Woodville, so they're starting to take the ascendancy in the lineup. Short ball to Hebhart. Gets the ground. Adcock. Short ball to his brother. Away they will go again. Nice little inside ball to Hebhart. Ron let down and holding a leg as well, as Woodville will start to move away. Penalty advantage coming. Adcock fires it flat. Really good pickup now. Matt Connor's away. And he will look inside to Adcock. Goes one more to Hebhart. Hebhart dragged down from behind. Good offload though to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald just puts his head down and goes. Woodville, that's how close they are. Can they get away? Adcock tries to just run around the outside, and he does, and Adcock will score. And again, we said it before, just ran out of numbers.
That was an absolutely fantastic try, just a really sweeping move from their own half, Woodville, and just really good support from all players involved in that as well. You look at the pickup that had occurred. I think it was from Adcock, that pickup just over there. He's had to reach down really low to actually go and get that, to keep that sweeping move going. He's done really well, but also the support from the guys that are coming in and cleaning out. The presentation absolutely pristine as well, and it's a really, really well worked try from Woodville.
I think as we were going through that move, there was cries to the leftovers where the old collegians were starting to group. There was a cry from the leftovers that said he had support outside, but just Matt Connor, when he gets on the hoof, yes, he had a winger outside him, but he had a winger who's 1 against 3. Yes, we would have got another 20 yards, but he was isolated. Just decided to take a step back, look back for support where there was support.
I thought that was wonderful work. Just it's what it is going back against the grain. So as the defence is drifting across, as we see a successful conversion in half time, getting it back against the grain, and then they changed it a few more times with the offloads. This has been a great half from Woodville.
So it is half time. Woodville leading this one 20 points to 8. We will take a break. We'll be back for half number 2. So welcome back to this second half. Adelaide University managing to stay, well, I thought they were going to stay in contact, and then I saw the scoreline, 20 points to 8 to Woodville. Woodville really struggling with injuries. Last week we saw Ryan Gatehouse is here, he's running the tee with an arm in a sling, and you assume the lad with the dislocated shoulder isn't out playing. So Adcock will receive that one. This time he does manage to get away. Woodville started off, Hebhart comes on the long run. It's a good kick from Adcock and will bounce its way into touch. Talked about, talking yesterday, any kick that hits the ground and bounds away, it's a good kick.
If you find the grass is often what they, you talk to your back three and your kicker, your 10. If you can find a patch of earth and then get that good roll on, it gives you time as your chasers getting through. But great kick-off reception from Woodville. They've been quite clinical at that point. This is the chance for Uni to build. They really need this half, early start of this 10 minutes to fire.
Obviously Woodville will want it as well. Charge down. Parry has to go and get it. Gets Udendorf for company. Really would have liked to see Uni hit that harder. Adcock again decides to come this side again. We'll put it on the bootlaces. It's gone backwards somehow. Nope, it hasn't. Got the call. Everyone sort of looking around, not really sure what we're doing. It's a scrum, gentlemen. So scrum to Uni. Mooney to Jenkins. Tried to go out the back. Almost didn't work, and it didn't work. Adcock will pounce on it. Adcock will just throw it out the back as well. All got a bit scrappy and all got a bit messy.
We could see there the intentions from Uni, get it in the hands of Jenkins. They've used it for a dummy switch at 12-13, but Woodville were very wary of that, knowing him as the strike player. And a very good turnover again, which has been the hallmark of the game so far for Woodville, getting these turnovers.
So it will be a Woodville scrum. We had, like I said, it just all got a little bit scrappy in the midfield. Scrum halfway, lots of blindside. Well, even though it's out this way, you would still call it the blindside. Short ball. Good challenge in midfield from Jenkins. Dominant tackle. Hunt gives a short ball, and they will go out the back. Connor again ranging out there. And Fitzgerald will go one-on-one with Ralph. Manages to get away from Ralph. Can't get away from the cover tackle though. Shouts from the winger out to go out this side. Penalty coming for them. Now they will go. Adcock to Adcock. Again has to pick it up. Inside ball. Again, good, strong, dominant tackle. Another high one. Woodville now. Again, Mellis. Mellis will show and go, tries to find a way through all the traffic. Uni managed to sort out the numbers, but it's going to come back, you'd think, for the penalty. Well, it's a second high in the space of 10 yards. I think if you were wearing green and gold, you'd be asking about a card.
And then certainly when they come into that red zone within that final 5 metres, you really need to look at one, is it a yellow, and by the book you remove that player from the tackle as if he was never there and have a look, would a try have been scored? And it's often a cause for a penalty try if it's close to the line.
Yeah, certainly Jacob Parry is having a chat, and I think half-time's done them well, because they were just starting to lose a level of discipline, Woodville, and so to be able to settle down and have half-time and get themselves in the hands of the coaches, as Adcock just fires that one through and just keeps adding to the lead. It's probably not done them any harm, really, the half-time break.
No, not at all. In fact, actually, it's probably given them a chance to take some stock, really, because they finished that half, as you say, with a little bit of ill discipline starting to creep in, but they've reverted back to how they were playing in the 10 minutes leading before that. And some really good pressure down there as well, coming out of that situation with some points and some good play. It's a very good start to this half for Woodville indeed, with even with a man down as well.
So Jenkins will restart again. Adcock underneath it with Augustus putting pressure on him. It's been a theme running for today. Matt Connor trying to find a way through. Almost does, gets the offload away to Parry, who's met hard again by Jenkins. Jenkins in midfield is certainly, he's something you think about if you decide you want to run that channel. But away Woodville will go again. Hunt looked for the offload, wasn't quite there. Starchenko finds some space, will carry up and over halfway. Parry puts the ball to boot, turns Augustus around and will bound away into touch. They would have the lineup if we were with the new laws. Hopefully we'll see them next year crossing.
Which ones are those, Dave?
So if you kick from within your own 50 and it bounces into the 22, the 50-22, and also the 22-50. So if you kick within your own 22 and it bounces inside 50, you get the lineup.
We saw a handful of them yesterday at the NRC game, and huge applause from yourself, Dave, when one was executed perfectly. And I do like it. I like that the NRC trials these potential rule changes that we can have a look at and see. Okay, is this something we can do? Rugby's always been a sport that has a good think about how do we make this game more and more exciting.
Easy line out for Uni. It's a Mooney. Mooney will put the ball on the boot. It's going to work well for him. Everyone had sat back. Fitzgerald will miss. Uni are away. He's got support on the inside if he wants it. He'll step Young Roberts. Has to go again. Now he will press the loud pedal and try and beat Hunt to the corner, which he does.
Outstanding. I'm pretty sure Mooney shanked that kick, but it turned to gold. And they needed that try so badly, Uni, and they really need to get around each other and go, we can do this.
It was a really interesting one because the wind is strong and it's playing into that back three, and they all sat back. It slewed off the side of his foot, but worked.
And again, even if the intention is to kick that ball out of touch, it just shows you the value and the importance of the chase, irregardless, because you don't know what kind of scraps you're going to get off of that. We saw it with Burnside the other week against Collegians, where you've got the chase up from the players, resulted in an interception try if they took the quick one. He's gambled there. He's got underneath that, and it's still a hell of a lot of work to do for the winger out there as well. Lots of good footwork, broken a couple of challenges too, and like Crossy just said, that has just turned to gold for him.
A little bit of fool's gold for the man from Adelaide University. Mooney will be saying he meant that. Off the side of the foot, the old banana. Tommy Ralph right out on the touchline. Off the post. Doesn't make its way through though. Drops it to a 10-point margin though. Woodville back to 15 aside though. Tommy Price re-entering the fray. 23 points to 13 on the Wojtek scoreboard. So Lindsay Adcock will restart. Lewis Adcock will chase this. this one. Good restart, giving his brother all sorts of chance. Forward again. Price will tidy it up. Adcock. Flat ball, too flat. Decide that they're going to take that knock on. Again, central scrum. I am. Well, come to you, Pete, on this one, because even here, if I had a choice as a fly half, I'd still be loading this near side and giving that 8-9-15 2/3 of a pitch to deal with. Something that just seems to have gone from our game.
Well, the 8-9-15 coming back to this side with the camera won't quite work with the other half back in play, but you can get the 8 to tap it back to the 9 and get the fly half Mooney to swing round to this short side, and there's plenty of opportunities.
Just seem to be splitting all the time though, which just it makes it easier. Standing up and a penalty, which amuses Mr. Hankey.
I just love the everything that goes around that once a team has won a scrum. It's so important, and there's a lot of congratulations and geeing up amongst each other. And I think what the referee's looked at there, he's looked at what side he feels is more dominant at that time. The pressure on the Adelaide Uni 16 proved a bit too much. He stood up by a very well experienced Price there. And again, it's an important penalty kick for Woodville to now take to try and regain that lead that they just lost at the start of the second half.
Well, confidence is flowing through Lindsay Adcock at this point, because this is not an easy kick. This is probably what, 39 metres out. It's just off to the right. But this wind, it's a big kick on a day like today.
Yeah, it's a very big kick. I'm interested to know whether they look at the other back end potential advantage of, well, if we end up with a 22 dropout from this, if it doesn't go over, that's not so bad either.
Has to get there. Well, it is going to be a 22. Just the wind pulled it all the way across, so it will be a 22 restart for Adelaide University. But you saw that, I mean, how far that thing carried. Its range is now, that went through post high to steal an AFL thing. That went through post high. That pushes his range out to about 50.
Yeah, well, that ball's gone. I had to play ball boy again.
It is on its way. It's off up Grand Junction Road, that one. Adcock leaves it to bounce, then just looks to chip into the space behind. The ball will bounce away into the 22. Good chase by Adcock. Sorted out though. Mooney will go back into the pocket. Pressure, charge down. Hebhart! Hebhart scores! He's deserved that. I've enjoyed watching Paul Hebhart play in this final series. He does a lot of the unsung hero stuff, so really love to see him get on the score sheet.
Yeah, great pressure. The skill of a charge down is actually all about bravery. Putting your body and face in the way of someone who's trying to kick the skin off it. Mooney will be very disappointed with that end result. But you really saw, and probably a chat they had at half time for Woodville, of let's play territory. We're up on the scoreboard. If we play territory, wait for mistakes, we'll get our opportunities. And we've had a shot at goal, 22 dropout, and now they've got a try from a charge down. And I think we're going to see a lot more of it. So a little chip kick to start it all off with in the attacking 22. Somewhere you don't often see a 22, but it turned to goal.
It's a really interesting one because Woodville now and there we see the problem with the wind. That's where you want to put it. The wind didn't come to the party on that one, but we are seeing Woodville now really starting to assert their dominance, which Adelaide Uni not out of it just yet. But if they do start to go there, we've talked about Woodville and their injuries and their squad and the best possible squad that they can get. At what point do your eyes start turning to next week and a fully rested and fully fit Port Adelaide side?
Well, we asked the question, didn't we, last week with Woodville when they played against Elizabeth, and I think the answer is still the same now. It's not until the lead is comfortable enough to be to be at a stage where Uni aren't going to be able to claw their way back into it. They're not quite there just yet. The difference is is not to. It's about 17 points at this stage in time. So I don't see how they can quite put their eyes on next week just yet. It's not a given. It's not a guaranteed. So I think that they've just got to keep going and keep plugging away and doing what they're doing. Then a time will reach on the clock where they probably will start to divert that across. Coaches might start making some changes.
15 points the difference, Tom.
My apologies.
I mean, I know the difference between backs and forwards, but I'm terrible at maths.
Be careful there, Dave. He's the biggest one sitting between us.
I still reckon I'm faster than him, though. I still reckon and it doesn't matter whether I'm faster than him, I just have to be faster than you.
Having a look here, Uni have got their backs very deep. Trying to probably give Jenkins as much space as possible, but he's probably at this stage better on a second or third phase than the first one, as he's going to be heavily marked.
But you got to win the first, got to win the scrum first, and Woodville, we talked about dominance, and there you go. And the props with their traditional mating dance after a penalty from a scrum.
Yeah, I think you're seeing it's number 16 since he's coming on. I mean, he's trying to tell the ref that he's being stood up there, but onus is really on him to try and keep that body shape down into what we call plane flying. At the moment, he's plane taking off, and yeah, he's just come up short a little bit since he's come off. And Woodville front row are absolutely loving that and getting into him. So it then becomes a stage where once someone ascertains dominance on that it becomes really hard work for the opposing team.
I'm not a pilot, but I think if the plane ended up in the position of the Uni prop, then we're in all sorts of problems. Connor again, this time gets it away, and Adcock gets it away as he's hit. Now Fitzgerald will go on that far side, puts the ball on the boot. How's the bounce going to be? It's going to work really, really well. Jenkins decides to go from inside his own in goal, and then we'll just try and find the Seagulls. Went backwards off Mellis, and then the bounce worked for them. Now they've got numbers. Adcock had numbers out here, decided against it. Hunt to Parry. Parry all on his own, manages to get the offload away, but knocked on. How impressive has Matt Connor been today?
Sensational. You see him every single time, charging on it and then getting the offload off. It's probably been a part that he inspires in the rest of his teammates as well. If you can free up the arms, let it go and keep the momentum going. And must be every single carry. If he's not scoring the try, he's making the offload.
Well, if there's a competition going in the Connor household as to who gets the biggest share of Sunday dinner tonight, Matt Connor is certainly leading that race. Just every now and again he comes along and just pats the Lion Cub down. Again they start to move backwards, but this time they got rid of it. Mooney will just send it away. Goes out on the full, asking whether it was carried back in, and it was carried back in. Again, we just see the difficulty. 5 years ago would have been a great kick. And it gives Woodville a really, really strong position. Where are they? Bang on the 22. Persisting with the five-man lineup. Happy to go to Hebhart, just missed his target. Shake of the head from Tom Hankey. That one's gone forward and they've coughed it up again, so Woodville from here can go. So we're scrum central. You think they could do what they want at the moment, Woodville, from a scrummaging point of view.
Yeah, chests are out at the moment, aren't they, for Woodville, and they're starting to grow even more into this game as the clock, well, I say clock ticks down, we've still got a fair bit to go, but in this kind of area now, you're starting to see that Adelaide Uni have changed around some personnel to try and cope with what Price has been doing to their loose head, so they've changed around there, but they've started to grow in confidence in this set piece now, and they're really marching forward.
And there they do go forward. I mean, it'll be a lot to see a pushover try from here, but I think they're capable of it, and they are going. It's a big drive from the forwards. Adcock tries to run through the gap. Can't quite get there, can't get his hands free either. But away Woodville are going. Out to Hunt, to Adcock. Again, they keep working, they just keep knocking on the door. Turned over though, Uni have turned it over. Uni will just have to, it's a long trek from here again for Uni. Mooney will sit back in the pocket. Uni just happy to give themselves a little bit more room. Ralph dragged into touch. We're still going though. Malice will go over the top to Hepart, and under the post they will go. So Woodville now will push it out to 20 points of difference. The way that he's kicking, it will probably go to 22 points of difference. So the kick directly in front. Look, they are dominant. They're 20 points up. But they're leaving quivers in the arrow, leaving arrows in the quiver at the moment. They could have scored that 3 or 4 phases ago, and they just, Azil knocked that one over. They're just determined to just batter down the middle.
They could have scored earlier, but they're in such a comfort zone at the moment. The scrum is dominant, so they just kept it in there for a bit longer just to march it, just to sap all the last bit of energy out of Uni. And University, I'm not sure they've got much left in the tank now.
No, so 22 points the difference. Tom Hankey proves why he's a front rower. Well, why a rugby player as well, in fairness. But he did go straight to Jacob Parry. That's a good ball, I'll give you that, Tom.
Yeah, just looking out for my front row buddies, that's all. But to add on to what Cossey's just said there, you asked me earlier on about when you think as a coach that you can start looking forward to next week. I would say that there's still mistakes that can creep in from Woodville to allow Uni to slowly creep back into the game, but I think this lead is now unattainable from Uni's perspective. And if I was Woodville's coach, I'd probably be looking at what sort of subs I can make.
Yeah, and generally and I get told off for saying things are over before they're over, but Woodville's dominance in every facet of the game at the moment probably means that they will be looking. They've certainly got one foot in the final, and the other one is making its way to join it.
Absolutely, Dave. And we'll hopefully see here Uni completing a successful line-out. The scrum is not working for them, so they really need this part of their game, this platform they can build on to fire. Otherwise, it really will be all she wrote.
And just as we say it, Adcock will steal it to Jet Connor. Connor will show and go and get away. He has support on the inside. The 2v1 works. Adcock is trying to get away. Jenkins will chase him down. Try to the offload, and Odendahl will pick it up for Uni. Offload off the floor. Again, it's a fair mountain to climb. It's a long way for Uni to go. Mooney sends it out to Augustus. Has to get it on the bounce. It'll stop and go. Does get away. And beats the second one and gets the offload away. Good tackle, covering tackle from Parry. Yeah, the arm comes out for the high one. Happened right in front of us. Players down. It looks like hamstring for University number 6. It's gone straight to it.
Take a breath. Composure is going to be massive for us, yeah? Compose yourself. Take a breath and we go again.
So that's Smith who went to the back of that left hamstring. They will come and look after him.
Yeah, he's in a world of pain. A wonderful carry, but just tweaks it, and it is cold. There's changing conditions here. It's really the cold snap starting to come through, and you get towards the tail end of a game and you get tired, the muscles get tired, and with that chill factor as well, I don't think he'll continue.
Well, let's not forget, it's spring. But talk about that, is he gets treated. There's a couple of Woodville players, Mellis and the centre pairing for Woodville, both stretching in midfield. You're right, it's cold, but we've talked about these battles of attrition. This is the third week in a row that Woodville have played a no. No, they had a qualifying final, first one, but it's 3 weeks of rugby, so they've really pushed themselves. I don't think it's anything other than hamstring. They are spending their time. The substitution signal has come.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I did see instantly players just who were around him then at the time just signalling to the bench that they needed to bring on someone to replace him. He's being applauded off at the moment by both sets of teams and supporters.
I mean, and again, we talked about it last week with Woodville, but any level of injury in games like today, it's season over, because the season is, a game and a quarter left at the moment. But we talked about it last time, Crossy, but every single facet of the game now, Uni are struggling.
It's really not coming together. Again, this line out, it's another moment. The backs are set, the Uni backs are keen. Jenkins out there would have loved to get his hands on the ball. We need this line out completed.
Very nearly, but they did enough to just mess it up. Balls on the floor. Little knock on from Woodville, so they'll get a scrum.
They get a scrum, but we've seen it. The last few, the result hasn't been good for Uni. They need to work on almost the 7 style quick strike. Tom would be better on sort of this part of the game, but trying to open up at the back and trying to just launch it through just to get it out.
Well, this is where your number 8 has to be ready, and he's got to get it out as soon as he gets anywhere near him.
Yeah, I said this about Elizabeth last week, and there were a couple of times where they did do it, but that ball has got to come in quite quickly, almost as soon as the sets occurred, and as soon as the ref's given the signal that the ball's okay to go in, and then it's just got to be an instant strike back. And that's nearly worked out quite well from just bar the knock on, but other than that was exactly what they needed. Ball had come out, and even though they were being marched backwards, backs were still set and ready, but it's just a bit of an error that's crept in there and resulted in a knock on.
And the body language experts amongst us will be looking at those two packs, and Woodville are high-fiving and up and about, and the Uni looks shell-shocked. So Woodville scrum, and massive tip of the hat to this Woodville pack, because if we're honest, the backlines have been equal. The Uni, and the difference has been the set piece today. And they can build a platform and set it however they want. Jet Connor will pick and go. Gets the offload to the old man. Another offload, and Adcock will just barrel forwards. Interesting that they got away with that. Little show and go, and he's got some space inside. There's a couple to beat. Again, the offload is good. Numbers to the right. Adcock will send it out, and just dropped. Michael Augustus thinking about a quick one, but probably not the best idea in those situations. But there's so much pressure on the university set play now.
There is, but isn't young Jet Connor starting to get his lion's share of dinner back on the Sunday roast? Doing amazing work, breaking off the back and then linking up with his father. Delightful to watch.
Again, it's gone messy, and Starchenko will feed it, and then he just puts his head down. There was no way he was going to pass. He thought about it. Out they go again. Connor to Adcock. Adcock runs it too. Augustus does well to hold him up. Ball's going to come back their way. Very, very stretched now. Matt Connor. Lovely hands to Mellis. Mellis goes inside the 2. It's dropped. Woodville wanted the advantage. Knocked on, so they'll get a scrum 5 metres out. Now, I do feel like we're labouring a point, but geez, how dangerous is this one? Defensive scrum 5 metres out against this Woodville scrum.
Yeah, I mean, I'm laughing to myself there because I reckon that they score that try from that move that's just then, and that's going in the highlights reel for best tries for the season, because that was really, really good. Some spectacular handling and some audacious stuff. Woodville really enjoying their rugby at this stage of the game, so you'd expect here that the scrum coming their way, or coming away for. Is this an Adelaide put in? Uni.
It is a
put in, yeah. So Uni put in, but I don't think it's going to make too much difference. It's yeah, I just didn't see it going one way, unfortunately, and that's either a turnover or a lot of pressure.
And there goes the shove. They have to go, and they do go. Fitzgerald ducks under the tackle of Fitzgerald. Arm is out though. It will be a Uni penalty. Everyone decided they wanted the penalty. The game just stopped. Uni will just have to send them down. I mean, even from here across here, I'd be thinking about coming to this near side, even from over there. He's a right footer trying to get any level of distance on that right hand side.
Well, regardless now, Dave, I'm not thinking about whether he makes touch. That's fine, but what happens after this? The line out. It must fire. They must get some ball to have any opportunity, and right now, they've cleared their line. Well done, but without clean ball, every line out, every scrum just becomes Woodville's line out and scrum.
Cannot underestimate the battle of the set piece. So they've got one out to Mooney. Mooney will send it away. It's going to go straight down the throat of young Roberts. Young Roberts tries to beat the first one. They've got him. Managed to keep his feet for long enough for his support to get there though. Starchenko off to Adcock. Oh, Adcock will sit down Tom Ralph and look to run around the outside. Good covering tackle again from Adcock. Again, they look to offload off the floor. Straight off his feet, penalty, bang in front. Kick it, take some more time off the clock.
It bothered me then to see just Uni just putting that kick through. The time is not on their side at the moment. They might be in their 22, but they've got to chance their arm. Even moving Jenkins to an outside centre position to give him some time and space, he's capable of going the full coast to coast. I'm not sure how that plan, if it was territory at the start of this half, that needs to be thrown out the window, because they must keep ball in hand.
This is the point where you must let loose the dogs of war, and Ryan Gatehouse, probably the slowest tea delivery I've ever seen in a rugby game.
Yeah, just a case of winding down the clock now for Woodville. They know they're in total control. They know that Uni haven't got an awful lot more that they can throw at them without them being able to deal and counter that. So again, I just think it's a case that now maybe eyes and attention has pulled across to next week, and a really intriguing meeting between two local rivals in the Prem 2, in the reserve final, or the Prem 2 final. My apologies. One of them.
Yeah, if you're wrong, just keep talking. It'll come right eventually. But yeah, so 38 points to 13 on the Wojtek scoreboard. You would say that we are looking at a grand final of Port Adelaide versus Woodville, and rivalries in rugby in South Australia don't really get much bigger than that. Jenkins again will restart. That's a good restart. Not sure. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Which way is it going to go? It's going to go Woodville's way. So it will be a Woodville lineup. And they've missed it. So Udendal will get to go. Gets going, gets a run at the first 5. Drones go up. It's told to keep it down, so it'll be another high one. Tom Ralph takes control, gives it to Redfern, then it will come out this near side. Tries to run around the outside of Price. Covering tackle comes across and gets him. Gen University just trying to find a hole in that defensive line of Woodville. Out to Mooney. There's Jenkins, short and flat and fast. Good tackle, manages to get the offload away to Mooney. Tries to loop it over. Good hands from Yeston Young-Roberts, who are coming back for another penalty. And it was always in a bubble, and as we've talked about with frustration, as we get to the dying seconds of this one, it's nothing to lose. All you do is sit down the first week of pre-season, isn't it?
There's nothing to lose. You've got to throw the wind, and it was really nice seeing Uni with some good play, and hopefully they can convert and get a try. It might not be enough, but just to finish it off their season nicely with some flowing rugby.
And Mr. Jones is just going to go and see whether he saw anything. Again, I don't think there was anything thrown. It was just a frank exchange of beliefs between the two teams.
If anything, it could have been very clever clock killing from Woodville. We'll start a little bit of a ruckus, burn a bit more time as they get more and more adjusted to the feeling that they're about to play in the grand final.
I think the conversation now would be, look, there's very little point, but we see it time and time again, don't we, with rugby, the team that's getting beaten, and you know they've now lost and had that penalty reversed just from, you know, a little bit of frustration. So Woodville will have the penalty and will be able to take themselves away. Anywhere will do for them at the moment. But it's been really interesting, and probably a really good one for you to watch, Tom, because like we said before, the difference between the two teams has been the set piece.
Yeah, massively so. Woodville have just grown into it. At the start of the game, it looked like it was something that was quite even. There was a bit of parity there, and I think that possibly the injury to because he looked like he went down earlier as well. The injury to Bron Letts probably made a massive difference there, because whilst he was on the field, it was quite even Stevens. Since he's gone off, it's not been the case.
It's the kick worked out well, and nice refereeing from Phil Jones, because it is something that, you know, players throwing the ball into players who are in the wrong position. Technically, it's something. I don't know whether it would be a free kick or a penalty. It's technically something, but he's looking for it. He's done it on purpose, so just set the line out and off we go. Oh no, he's made a liar. Yeah, no, he's made a liar out of me. So they have.
First day we'll have the line.
And then they bought one. That's, yeah. Oh well. Uni again and again. They managed to get out onto that far wing, which has given them some hope throughout the day. Into midfield. Good first up tackle again from Lindsay Adcock. Ralph decides he'll have a sniff and gets away. And again, Lindsay Adcock will come across and make the covering tackle. It's found its way into Woodville hands again, and then turned over again for Adelaide University. And now they are away. And now Jenkins can get away with a little bit of time and space. He will touch it down for what will probably be a consolation try. But just goes to show, time and space for Jenkins, he can be dangerous.
Time and space, and I hope Uni take the time to watch this video and just see, with the score against them, their urgency really picked up. For the first time, they had quick pick and goes. Even Ralph came in for a quick pick and go because there was space behind the ruck, and that's what they need to be doing. To be a successful rugby team, you need to exhaust your opposition when you're in attack.
It is the game, though, that Woodville would have wanted. It's not been overly taxing for them. They certainly wouldn't have wanted a 1 point back and forward, because they've got now a week to go. The one advantage for Woodville is they're on a roll. The big issue for them is they're about to face a Port Adelaide side that's really been had an armchair ride now through this.
Yeah, it's since that first sort of 10-minute spell in this game, Woodville have really just grown into it. There was 10 minutes there, because alluding to what Crossy was saying earlier on, there were 10 minutes of serious urgency at the start of the fixture from Adelaide Uni. There was some really good pick and goes. We saw that 14 phase move that sadly just amounted to nothing, but they have got the capabilities there to be able to achieve that. So it's just a case of consistency and decision making, and just making sure that they get their principles of play right, and then they'll go far. But this has definitely been a good steep learning curve on occasions for them this season. So we'll see improvement year on year, I'm imagining.
So 18 points the difference. And the Adcock brothers will look to link up again. This time he just drives it long. Inch perfect. And he's going to give that as an offside as well. Interesting to see what they do from here. Yeah, again, the world is their oyster at this point, isn't it?
It is indeed, and this could be, I hope to see maybe a little bit of a change, something they've got in the arsenal of a bit of a set-piece play. They've got long discussions out here in the middle with the Connor father-son combo, so I'm hoping to see some icing on a cake applied right now.
Well, they've made a mess of it. That's straight. And it'll be Uni, but again, they are now caught between the devil and the deep blue tee. If they 5 metres out, defensive scrum against this extremely dominant Woodville pack. Uni will put the ball in. Oh, and they got a little bit of a shove on. Possibly too little, too late from the men in black. They just reset it. Yeah, I've had some rain today, but I don't think it would have changed the pitch conditions too much. It's called Dry Creek for a reason.
It's quite a nice pitch. It's got a nice bit of softness to it as well for those heavy contacts of knockout matches. It's also quite a quick pitch as well, which is good for the backs, and the footing seems to be good for these scrums.
So Uni do get it away. Mooney will give it to Jenkins. Jenkins is going to go from underneath his own post. Gets away. The tap tackle doesn't quite work. Fitzgerald is caught in no man's land. Now the black shirts are screaming forward. How's the last pass? It's good enough. And Uni will run around the outside. Coast to coast.
With taters and toast. Dave, where's this been all day from Uni? Really just roll the dice, boys, and give a crack. See what you can do, and that's the result. That's as we see the finish of the game, but what a try to just show what they're capable of.
And that will be the last action. So Woodville will advance, and they will go on, and they will face Port Adelaide in the grand final. For Adelaide University, 2019 is done. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back for the Premier